hindsight, obviously, to have made the decision to bring in Coach Butler
Yeah.
a couple years ago that kind of put pressure on Coach Tony White.
Yeah.
Maybe scared him out of town or helped kind of lead to him leaving town. And then you do the transition of power and John Butler. And then here we are less than a year out. So, you look at even the initial hiring of John Butler and maybe did it lead or did it not lead to Tony White? Then now we have this other thing that I want to bring up real quickly are people getting along? I mean, Tony White, it was part of the frustration with that from Nebraska fans is like, is this a better job at Florida State? As we saw the year play out, is it more of, it's clearly not more job security. So what's kind of leaning into it?
Yeah.
And you only can maybe assume maybe they, not seeing eye to eye with everybody in the building. And that's the only thing I can come out of this John Butler deal is I don't think he necessarily sees eye to eye with John Butler or Coach Rule doesn't, the staff, whatever it might be, because the defensive numbers, though they did fall out at the end, are not catastrophically worse. In fact, more often than not, better than Nebraska's offensive side of the ball.
Well, and to be fair, that part, right? Because I think we look at Nebraska football, and in all honesty, are we able to say that the defense was the sole reason that they lost games? Like I ask myself time and time again, and I ask myself, especially after the way Nebraska lost on Friday, and then obviously the weekend before against Penn State. I ask myself often of like, what was the reason why? Are we able to point at one overarching reason as to this is why definitively Nebraska lost the game? And while the defense was really, really bad, I mean, the run defense was not very good all season long. The physicality of it was not great all season long. I can't remember necessarily against a formidable opponent, Buck. I can't remember necessarily coming out of a game and going, yeah, Nebraska dominated from start to finish. Now, I'm sure there were some, right? I'm sure there were some moments where Nebraska did that. However, for the whole 4 quarters, it didn't feel like it. Now, you brought up a fascinating angle and topic to this, to where Nebraska brings in John Butler ahead of the 2024 season, and we kind of forget how quickly they had to make that hire. And it was the whole stuff with Evan Cooper came out, and they had to make the hire relatively quickly and closer to the season than probably normal. And it was one of those things to where then middle of the season last year, and this is the part that in connection to what you just said regarding the Tony White piece, is they also brought in Phil Snow, and who's still on staff, right? And he's going to be Nebraska's interim defensive coordinator in the bowl game. But I looked at those 2 moves, especially the one with Phil Snow, and that was kind of when we got the writing on the wall that, okay, Tony White's not going to be here after this year. And it was almost then a shoe-in that John Butler was going to be the defensive coordinator. Now, whether you feel like that's fair, whether you feel like that's good business, whether you feel like John Butler was the man for the job, that's opinion, right? And who knows? But when it was all said and done, yes, Tony White didn't have a great year at Florida State this year. Florida State, we forget, absolutely bombarded the college football stage at the first game of the year when they beat Alabama, and then just completely fell off the map, had some bad losses down the road, lost to Florida to end the season last week, and they're not going to a bowl game. But then also, I sit there and go, how much better of a season did Nebraska have? That there's like those conversations that you have to have. And while I sit there, Buck, and I go, everybody wants to talk about the word progress. The last 2 weeks were really, really bad. And it felt like the complete opposite of progress. It felt like regression on both sides of the ball, to your point.
Yeah. And I guess, again, to further, get to my frustrations here with John Butler, is that I'm not completely sure he was given a fair opportunity either. It's more just the kind of the plan, everything that's kind of linked together is that if you recall, John Butler was asked to run Tony White's defense.
Yeah, but I don't know if, and that goes to something that I said earlier today, Buck, where I and people or a certain texter got mad at me on the text line because I mentioned the piece of who's hiring the assistants. And in terms of who's hiring the assistants, I mean position coaches. If it is the defensive coordinator, then there's no excuse, right? If it's the head coach saying, hey, D coordinator, you got to work with these pieces, then I think it's a different conversation, because we know in terms of relationships when things work and when things don't. I go back all the time to the Bob Diaco situation. Right? Exactly. That's the voice that's the response everybody should have, because Sean Eichhorst believed that bringing in and leadership's a thing, right? Leadership is a massive piece of it. And at the top, Sean Eichhorst believed, let me go get and help that Nebraska go get the number one defensive coordinator from Notre Dame a couple of years ago when they played in the national championship, and it's automatically going to translate to Nebraska football. And it didn't. It just did not. And through that, I think that's when we really started to learn that fits matter. Like understanding who you have, who is on your staff, and then allowing them to do their job is crucial. And I'm this is clearly opinion. This is pure opinion from Nick, right? And I sit there and I go, I don't know who hired who. If this is John Butler's staff at the position coaches, then sure, we can have this conversation and going, okay, you know what? This is solely John Butler's issue, right? And Matt Rule is at very little fault here because he allowed John Butler to stand back and just do his job. And it didn't do it to the expectation. But if I think that this is a lot bigger than just John Butler issue. And that's how I feel about this. I look at it and I go, the defensive line was not very good this year in terms of development from game 1 to game 12. The outside linebackers were not very good. Nebraska did not pressure the quarterback well enough. Their linebacker play was not very solid. The defensive backs were fine, but in terms of when they got high volume directed their way, they weren't that great. Like, yeah, we can talk about the number 2 pass defense, but it's because the volume of passes against the Huskers were not that great because people could run over Nebraska time and time again. So it's just, I think just being realistic is an important piece of this.
But it's interesting too, because when you mentioned that, obviously you kind of have your the way you attack, right? And so maybe that did help Nebraska's passing defense, but I'm old enough to remember the 2015 Nebraska passing defense. Played in the Big 12, played in the Big 10, so you can't use the Big 10 excuse. Gave up, I think they were 102nd in the nation in their pass defense. It was awful. I mean, so it's not just a given. It's just, okay, Big 10, they don't play anybody, 100%. That sort of thing. So you do have to give him credit. Also, keep in mind, he's a secondary coach. Yes. You did hire a secondary coach. You can't get mad that he maybe has more strengths as the secondary. And then the other thing is, combined, as we sit today, they have a top 25 defense in total defense.
Yeah, they do.
So I'm interested in where I think it's not so much that I want to stand up for Coach Butler and think he's got a bright future and everything's going in the right direction. It's just, to me, this is a further example of this is a revolving door of coaches, assistant coaches, coordinators.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that when there are problems, and and credit to Matt Rule, this last game said, hey, put all the blame on me.
Yeah.
And then less than a week later, he puts all the blame on the defensive coordinator and he's out. And the same thing kind of happened after Minnesota. That's what my biggest thing was.
Yeah.
This year when they lost 24-6 to Minnesota, the whole idea was, hey, he called a vanilla game plan. How dare he? Well, they didn't give up all that many more big runs after that. Mm-hmm. And you scored 6 points.
Yeah.
And then altogether in your 4 losses, the final 4 losses outside of Michigan, you averaged 12 points per game in those games. So again, as I sit here today, ranking wise with the rest of college football, the offense is ranked below where the defense is in points per game. The offense is ranked below where the defense is in total offense, defense. The offense is ranked below where the defense is in obviously passing. So I'm just intrigued, and we'll see. There might be more moves, there might be more stuff coming around, but I almost like at a certain point, it's just you need some continuity. You can't sell me, and if you want to say progress, don't sell me progress in a 7-5 season and then fire everybody because then it doesn't feel like there's much progress being made. Even
it doesn't feel like you believe that there's progress,
right?
Okay. Let me ask you this question, and then I would ask this to the text line 402-464-5685. As we reminisce and look back on this 12-game season, 14 weeks combined when you add the 2 bye weeks, was Nebraska's biggest issue as a team as to why they couldn't get 8 wins, 9 wins, right? Was the biggest reason why their defense.
I think by the end of the year, you could give a pretty good argument those last 2 games. And
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest argument is the bottom is kind of falling
Does
out.
it almost feel like this was, I don't want to say a knee-jerk reaction, because you hope that Nebraska is not, from an administration standpoint, you hope that Nebraska is not acting off of emotion and off of impulse, right? Do you feel like this was maybe decided simply because of the way Nebraska played in the last 2 games?
I think so. I mean,
Okay.
I think I would say I do.
Doesn't it suck to admit that though?
I think that the ultimate hammer to the nail, right, is those final 2 games.
I think so too. But you also allowed 77 points in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
But
you allowed over 40 points once this year.
Yeah.
That's kind of I know that's a lot.
40 points is a lot.
40 points is a lot, but again, we've been at Nebraska. We've seen worse. In fact, we saw worse last year.
But I think maybe the mindset is it's not the same as it was under Scott Frost, where it's, hey, let's just score more than the opposing team. It's more so of like you need to, and Matt Rule's been pretty forthcoming of this. You have to be able to win games when you put up 21 points or 24 points. I think that's just natural. I think we all, and correct me if I'm wrong, going into the game last Friday, we all sat here and said, all right, what's the magic number? You felt like in the conditions that Nebraska played in at Memorial Stadium on Friday, and knowing who Nebraska, well, maybe not knowing at that time, but knowing the team that Nebraska was going up against and how Nebraska operates, what did you feel like the magic number was? And I think a lot of us said around that 24 mark. Nobody in their right mind on God's green earth thought that the magic number on Friday would have been 41.
Right.
And so, I don't want to sit here and say that Nebraska should be able to win a game scoring 16 points. I don't think so. There are not a lot of issues, but there are some glaring things that Nebraska probably needs to correct before the bowl game, before next season, if you want to kind of get this fan base back believing that this thing is on the right track. That is maybe what I'm more shocked by, is we've seen this fan base and an emotional, passionate fan base, and sometimes emotional can be negative, right? I'm actually using it as a positive here. We've seen this emotional and passionate fan base completely flip, or at least start to flip, on how they feel about the current situation of Nebraska football these last couple of weeks. And it feels real knee-jerky just basing it off of Penn State and Iowa. But I also understand, because you have to base it off of November in my mind, because the most meaningful games that you play are in the last month of the regular season.
Well, and that too is another thing that I think is interesting, because if you played Michigan State and Maryland in November, you might be able to beat them.
Okay, maybe.
So I would hope so. You did beat them earlier in the year. They both finished.
That's
1
interesting.
and 8.
That's interesting to think about, because I struggle with that, because while that might be true, you can't control the schedule. You can't control who you play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think more so when you look at Nebraska, like one thing that Matt Rule can't run away from is the fact that he's 2-10 in November. I mean, you're 2-10 in November.
Yeah.
And the 2 wins that you do have are, yes, needed, right, and expected. But the next step,
over non-bowl teams.
Non-bowl teams in Wisconsin, UCLA. UCLA was with an interim head coach as well at the time. I think that, and I even look at that UCLA game, and this is why I think it's, I'm not trying to justify the decision to let John Butler go. And I certainly fall in line with the belief that there were more issues this year, that maybe it made the defense of issues magnified, but it wasn't the sole reason Nebraska was losing games. Is I go back to, there's a drive against Michigan and a drive against UCLA. It was right after Nebraska in the UCLA game. They scored their first touchdown of the game. And I can't remember all the specifics, but UCLA essentially then after Nebraska scored their opening touchdown, led 7-0, they allowed, I want to say something in the ballpark of like a 17 play, 79-yard drive, and that took over 9 minutes of game time off the clock. And that was one thing, and a consistent complaint that I had about this defense was their inability to get off the field when you just needed them to. Michigan, they did the same thing. They allowed a true freshman who's fine, had a fine season this year in Bryce Underwood, and Justice Haynes is very, very good. But back on that day when you needed your defense to get a stop, and the offense was doing fine, right? The offense was doing fine. You needed the defense to get a stop. Michigan got the ball back with a little over 10 and a half minutes left to go in the game. And you were like, you just need to stop. And instead, Bryce Underwood on the road in a great environment was able to orchestrate a 14 or 15 play drive that took 9 minutes off the clock. And you looked up at the game clock and go, man, are we even going to have enough possessions to get to even get back into this? And you end up losing 30-27. And it's like moments like those that from game, what was that for Michigan? Game 4 to game, what would that be, 10 or 9 against UCLA? There were, in those moments, it didn't feel like it was getting better. And so those are things that I think you can actually point to rather than, well, if you would have played this team, stuff that's in your control rather than outside your control.
Yeah, I mean, and I can agree. I mean, I again, I'm not here to completely defend Coach Butler. I'm just interested in the decisions that they make. I've also seen, I hate to say this season reminds me a lot of 2016 Nebraska. And this move specifically reminds me a lot of 2016 Nebraska because on that day, if you remember, that was the last, and that's if you hear us say 2016, I say it every day, because it's the last 9-win season for Nebraska. The last time we can go back and say they've achieved all these certain goals, but it wasn't a good season. It was a frustrating season. It was a frustrating 9 wins, at least the way that it ended. If you remember, they started that season off 7-0 and got ranked in top 25, then got blown out 62-3 at a certain point to Ohio State. But here's the key. This is when they lost 40-10 to Iowa.
Yeah.
So Mark Banker gave up 40 points to Iowa. And then what happened after that year? They fired Mark Banker. And then what happened? They brought in the savior. And I mean, everybody gather around, John Cook, you included. Let's see what a real coach does. And that's what they did. I'm not making this up. They had everybody, athletic department wide, come and watch how Coach Bob Diaco runs things, because this is a perfect example of what a coach can do. I mean,
people forget that was the first, I believe, $1 million coordinator that Nebraska paid.
Yeah. And, former Burroughs Award
finalist,
all that
right.
Sort of
UConn
stuff.
Head coach.
Right. So, I mean, there was reason to be, but nothing has gone more disastrous than the Bob Diaco reactionary, like we're saying, the strain, reactionary to Iowa scoring 40 points. And where are we now?
Yeah.
Maybe reactionarily looking for another savior of the program at defensive coordinator to come in and do. And so, I mean, obviously, if you just make any hire, mostly won't be as bad as Bob Diaco, but you're in a similar situation.
I think you're onto something there. I brought this up to AD this morning or yesterday. I can't remember which specific day. I brought up it would have been today because we were talking about it. Do you remember in 2023 in Matt Rule's first year, the ineptitude of the offense, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Turnovers galore.
And the fact that because I remember sitting up in like the press box at Memorial Stadium time and time again, or watching on TV, and consistently telling myself, holy smokes, this defense keeps on stepping up. And like the whole mentality of that defense was like bend, don't break. Not from them, but that was like a fan associated mantra. Was like, because it was time and time again that Nebraska's offense, because of either turnovers or just issues, bad punts on special teams, poor special teams coverage, right? That the defense would only, the opponent would get the ball like between the 40s. 40 on your side, 40 on their side, time and time again.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I remember this.
And it would be like multiple times in a game, we would be there at the start of the fourth quarter going, how in the hell is Nebraska in this game? And so I go back to that. And then I look at, going forward. And I wonder, that was something that maybe at times Nebraska was missing this year, is when, because we talk complimentary football all the time with like offensive stuff about, and we a lot of people will just view that in terms of like run pass, like even split or close to 60-40. Everybody loves the percentage conversation. And I almost look at it as, when the offense is struggling, can your defense pick you up? And vice versa. When the defense can't get a stop, is the offense able to do just a little bit more that day to at least keep you in the game or put you in a position to win? I think back to 2023, time and time again, Nebraska's defense stood up, bowed up, forced a field goal when they only had 37 yards to defend, or whatever it might be. And Nebraska's offense just consistently was unable to score the football. So then I look at this year, and it was kind of a blend of both, to your point, to where the offense was fine. I said it yesterday, is this is going to be something we look back on at the end of this year, Bach, and go, man, we really wasted a special year from Emmett Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're talking all Big Ten type of year, potential All-American if there's not a guy named Jeremiah Love. And if Nebraska wins a little bit more, probably a conversation for the Doak Walker and for the conversation for the Heisman.
Yeah.
If Nebraska wins a little bit more. But against the Iowa Hawkeyes, who's not inept by any means, but certainly, in my opinion, not 24 points better than you. The same way I felt about Penn State. Certainly not whatever it was, 37 to, what was it, 10?
10, yeah,
10. So
10.
certainly not 27 points better than you. Your defense just was unable to pick up any pieces to try to help you out. And vice versa. The offense wasn't great either. But one side of the ball has to fall on the sword, I suppose.
Yeah, and that's what happened here. And again, I think that's probably fair enough. In the way, again, it's a lot of it is how you finish, as you're kind of pointing out. Records in November, the defense clearly was not finishing well. I again have kind of been describing as the bottom somewhat fell out there toward the end, and so you're going to carry that momentum or lack thereof into the offseason. So I mean, I get it again. And then the most important thing is, regardless of me sitting back here and pointing out numbers and pointing back to recent years, is Matt Rule should be inside that staff, should know and should be able to evaluate, am I getting the most out of my defensive coordinator? Are we seeing eye to eye? Are these are ideas blending? And if the answer is no, again, regardless of what's going on out here, with the numbers and stuff, then you make that decision and do what's best for you and the program in year 4. My problem, I guess, the biggest thing that I do have here is, okay, so Emmett Johnson, maybe up in the air if he does come back, okay, then that's the clear answer to this. I don't think it's necessarily going to happen. So I guess if you ask me, like, what's the strength of this team? And before this, I could say, well, at least the pass defense was that. Now you kind of erase that. I don't know. Going into year 4 of Matt Rule, and every team kind of has their own fatal flaws. The first,
as you just extended him.
Yeah.
Right? Like that. That's also part of this conversation that we have to have.
Yeah.
And it's not fun to have these conversations, right? We would love if Nebraska could have at least won one of the two, Penn State or Iowa, right? And we're talking about an 8-4 team. Think about if the other, on the extreme side, if it would have happened, we could be talking about a 9-3 team. John Butler probably still has his job. Like, we're talking about a lot of different things here. But in reality, there's a lot of I think, just concerned and emotional Husker fans because of the events that have happened over the last 2 months or month and a half, right, of the season. And we bring that into, we can go down the list and start with the Matt Rule extension. And we can start, and in no way when I rattle these off, am I intentionally meaning it in a positive or negative way. I'm 100% neutral on all this. Matt Rule extension, Dylan Raiola injury, future of TJ Lateef, future of other skill positions, Emmett Johnson special year, John Butler fired. Who's the next D coordinator? Should the offense have a revamp as well? What does the offensive line look like going forward as well?
Yeah.
Like, that's 10 things that we just rattled off that, they kind of all work in sync, but you go back to the head man. And I think that Husker fans are cautiously optimistic about this next hire because the hires in the past have not necessarily been home run hitters.
Yeah.
I asked AD this morning, I'll ask you the same question. Best hire that Matt Rule's made in his time at Nebraska.
I think to this point it's been Mike Eckler, which again he did not
somewhat fell into his lap.
He did not necessarily know about until Nebraska fans let him know about.
Yeah, and I'll be interested. Like I was listening to you and DP talk earlier today, and DP made a great point regarding all the names that are being thrown out there. Yeah, they're great, but there's a lot of things that have to line up. There's a lot of things that have to line up for mutual interest. And Nebraska, whether it's been players, whether it's been coaches, has had to pay the bad team tax.
Mm-hmm.
They've had to overpay for guys. And I mostly mean for, talent acquisition here. And it hasn't necessarily worked out 100% of the time. And you're not going to have a perfect hit rate. But I do think that in some capacity, there's a lot of things that do have to work out for all these names of like, there's a reason Jim Leonhard is in the NFL. Just because that's the hot name right now. There's a reason Jim Leonhard's in the NFL, and it's not like Nebraska would be the first team in the last couple of years since his time at Wisconsin and since his time with the Packers that probably has reached out to him, if Nebraska's even reaching out to him, right? And so there's a reason why he's stuck around in the NFL. The same thing with other names that are being thrown out there. Like, so much of this has to line up perfectly for there to be mutual interest and for Nebraska to really not get screwed over on this deal. And it's just a matter of fit as well. And part of this is you do look at some of Matt Rule's former connections. And one guy that came to my mind, and this is with no knowledge of anything, is Jeff Collins. Mm-hmm. He's a former head coach at Georgia Tech, defensive analyst at South Carolina. South Carolina wasn't great defensively last year.
Hasn't stopped us before.
From the South Carolina pipeline. But I mean, that's something that was kind of one that popped into my mind earlier today as I've been kind of going through some of these things. We love to throw names out there without really thinking about logistics and if it could really line up or if it really matches.
Well, and again, then if you do overpay for somebody, which Nebraska likely would have to pay that bad team tax, like you're saying, then I fear you kind of get into the desperate savior mode.
This is the piece that I told this to AD earlier today, like talk about fit and coordinators eyeing these jobs. Like, to bring up another popular name that's been dropped is Justin Wilcox.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this is a guy that was a head coach for 5+ years at Cal. I want to say since 2015 or 2017. And like, if his end goal is to get into head coaching again, right? Maybe he doesn't understand, okay, I need to be a coordinator somewhere. You look at Nebraska's job next year and the challenges of not only probably revamping a large portion of your defense, or at least adjusting a large portion of your defense, whether that's through talent acquisition, scheme change, retention, whatever it might be. And then you look at who you have to play. And you see Oregon's offense, and you see Indiana's offense, and you see Penn or Michigan, and like you see all these teams, Ohio State, not Michigan, Ohio State. And you go, all right, if I'm trying to revamp my career, is Nebraska the best opportunity for me? And it's there's a lot that has to line up. And I'm not saying that Justin Wilcox is like yes or absolutely not, because I don't know. But there's a lot of moving pieces that have to line up really well. And so far, Nebraska struggled to find those moving pieces to fit.
All right, let's take a quick break. We got some different voices here on Old School, but we'll be back with more here on 93.7 The Ticket.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mostly sunny skies with a light breeze. and an afternoon high near 34. Tonight, a chance of flurries, otherwise increasing cloud cover, a low around 24. And tomorrow, a slight chance of snow showers, otherwise mainly cloudy and windy, with the high near 31. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fleck for 93.7 Ticket and theticketfm.com.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Make plans to be at the Icebox on Saturday, December 13th for Teddy Bear Toss Night as the Stars host the Dubuque Fighting Saints. Bring a teddy bear or stuffed animal from home or purchase one at the game. When the Stars score their first goal of the game, it's time to throw the bears and stuffed animals onto the ice, with all being donated to the Community Action Partnership of Lancaster and Saunders counties to help local children in need during the holidays. That's the Teddy Bear Toss on Saturday, December 13th with the Lincoln Stars.
This is your year to win way more than bragging rights. At Warhorse Casino, your love of the game could earn you serious cash. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with cash prizes all season long, like up to $1,000 weekly, with your chance at $1 million, all while earning tier points and comp points every time you place a sports bet. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Your Christmas list changes a lot as you get older. Dreams of video games, remote-controlled cars, and baseball gloves turn into dreams of shoes. You know, practical things. Brown's Shoe Fit is the king of shoes in Lincoln, with brands like Sorel, UGG, Brooks, Hoka, and more to make you fashionable and comfortable. Grab a new Ridge wallet or buy 3 get 1 free on Smart Wool socks for the ultimate stocking stuffer. And don't forget a reliable gift card for that hard-to-buy-for person in your life. Brown's Shoe Fit at 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
Here at Midwest Bank, we want to thank all the generous donors who helped us make our 2025 turkey dinner for schools a success. Thanks to the generosity, we raised enough money to provide 191 families across 6 different schools in Lincoln with a full Thanksgiving meal. With your support, we've made Thanksgiving Day for these families a little brighter. We want to wish everyone a healthy and happy Thanksgiving. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Hey
Hey guys, Nick Sainert here. Join me and Jay Foreman this Friday, December 5th for a special edition of Old School from 3 to 6 p.m. at Liquid Assets Sports Bar and Grill. We're raising awareness and funds for the Nebraska Greats Foundation, and we'll have many former Husker greats in attendance to promote as well. That's Old School this Friday at Liquid Assets Sports Bar and Grill at 27th and Jamie Lane, sponsored by Alpha Wealth Advisors.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on Old School on 93.7 The Ticket. Don't adjust your radio dial there. I'm Jake Buckman with Nick Sainert. Of course, Austin Orman back at home helping with the new baby. So congratulations,
new dad.
Yes, well, yeah.
For a second one.
Two-time
father. Bach, shifting from Nebraska football real quick.
Yeah.
I have to get your thoughts. So we know Ole Miss, obviously, because Lane Kiffin was not short on details. We know that Ole Miss did not allow and denied the request from Lane Kiffin to coach in the playoffs. However, Lane Kiffin brought his offensive coordinator from Ole Miss, Charlie Weis, to Charlie Weis Jr. Yep. Not Kansas's old coach.
No. Notre Dame coach.
Yeah.
Jimmy Clausen. Those
That's
great
right.
Days, yeah.
That's right. Do you remember the Kansas athletic director when they hired Charlie Weis? He was like, we set out to find the best option for Kansas athletics. And we found that. We found Charlie Weis. And then just Charlie comes walking up to the podium, and then that was the downfall. But anyway, Lane Kiffin brings Charlie Weis on Sunday night to Baton Rouge with him, and they ended up agreeing on a 3-year, $6 million deal. So $2 million per year to be the LSU offensive coordinator. It was announced about 45 minutes ago that Ole Miss is allowing Charlie Weis to call the plays in the college football playoff for the Rebels. Thoughts on them? Not, hey, LSU head coach can't call him. He can't coach. But hey, you know what? Okay, Charlie Weis as the offensive coordinator, you want to come on back? Go ahead. We want to win.
Well, it is. I mean, part of it sounds completely ridiculous. Like, why would you choose one and not the other?
Exactly.
And especially the less impactful one, I suppose.
Yeah.
But the other part of it is, I mean, they really should be making a run at a championship the best way that they can, because Ole Miss is not in a position to win national championships often. They're certainly not guaranteed moving forward. And so, I get it. At some point, you want to try to keep a little bit of that staff together, but how much is Charlie Weis Jr. going to be doing? I guess, what is he going to be doing differently than Lane Kiffin would be doing?
Right. All
that position.
All those potential conversations that you're concerned about can still happen.
Yeah.
Right. I will find it. I mean, here's what's the interesting part. And they're all professionals. And I think, like guys like Pete Golden and all the guys that chose to stick around Ole Miss staff, they're all professionals. Right. But can you imagine just that initial reunion of like, Bach, let's say I go to LSU. And then on Sunday night, and you're part of the Ole Miss staff that chose to stick around. And then I'm coming back to now be the offensive coordinator for the playoff. I get off that plane at the Oxford airport, excuse me, and I walk in. I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? Act like nothing happened. I can't tell you about what we're doing over at LSU, but hey, I know what you guys are doing here in Oxford for Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Now, I find it funny. I find it somewhat comical. But in all reality, I mean, just what a weird time, because winning is the priority, right? And
for some folks,
some, right? And
not for Lane Kiffin, apparently.
Well, but hey, if Lane Kiffin, LSU's paying their bonuses. Lane Kiffin's probably a huge proponent of this. Hey, give Ole Miss all the opportunity we have to win a championship, because if you guys win, then I make $1 million from LSU.
Yeah, they
I
win
don't
a
know.
national championship. Yeah,
it is a funny just time to be a college football fan.
And again, there are parts of it that you can understand, right? Lane Kiffin, as the head of the LSU program, is going to be having to like navigate signing day and the transfer portal, and the offensive coordinator doesn't necessarily have to
his
do
right hand man, the guy he brought with one of the 5 guys that he brought with him from Ole Miss on the first night he accepted the job.
Yeah,
he goes, "Not I can't coach, but you can."
I'll tell you this.
How did that conversation be? Pete Golden gets on the phone, is like, "Hey, Lane, look, can we please have Charlie back just for the playoff?
We don't necessarily want you at all."
Yeah. We know. Keith Carter gets on the phone, is like, "Lane, look, I know I said you can't coach, but we'll allow Charlie to coach.
Yeah. What a mess.
What a mess.
College football continues to be. Some people love it. Some people hate it. What do you think? I mean, are you cheering for Duke to win this week against Virginia and block the ACC out of the championship games? That would mean 2 Group of 5 champions probably would get in.
No, because I would like Tony Elliott to get a championship, number one. Number 2 is Daniel Kaelin's on that roster for Virginia. But I do find it somewhat funny that a 10-2 Miami team is not playing for the ACC championship this week.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean,
7-5 overall Duke.
Yeah.
That'd be like Nebraska.
I say neither is 9-3 Georgia Tech or 8-4. I mean, there's a couple 8-4 teams tied with Duke there. Somehow Duke got the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Manny Diaz is still the coach there.
Yep.
What is speaking of Manny Diaz, I think of Penn State every time I think of Manny Diaz. What is going to be happening there? Former Miami head coach Manny Diaz.
Well, I got to ask you because I know you're one of your number 1 guys, Jonathan Smith.
Yeah,
it all came burning into flames. What?
Yeah,
do you agree with the decision to move on in year 2?
I think it was quick.
Yeah.
I think though that also they started losing the support of fans.
Yeah,
I saw they just launched some sort of capital investment thing with Michigan State, where not private equity necessarily, but more so for like fundraising for facilities and upgrades and things like that, resources. It's called For Sparta is the name of it.
Okay.
They have I think it was a $1 billion goal, and they've raised $250 million in less than a day.
Wow.
So it's been a thing, which that is Jay Batt, the athletic director, what he did at Georgia Tech before he went to go be the athletic director at Michigan State. That was what he was really known for, is he did a lot of the fundraising or led a lot of the fundraising initiatives down at Georgia Tech. And that was a big positive side to hiring him at Michigan State. Well, here he is for Sparta. I do think that that's a very, very good hire. Pat Fitzgerald.
Pat Fitzgerald, yeah. He did go 1-11 his last season at the Northwestern.
He did.
But I've often said that the difference between their 3-9 and 9-3 teams were oftentimes marginal. It was just whether they won those close games. I mean, they would. I do think that that's the correct route to go. But the other part that's interesting about that is obviously that Michigan State, more than any other university, like sexual assault turmoil left and right.
Yeah.
And then they hire a guy that was fired, though he was able to.
He was cleared.
He
got all of his money.
But there was a scandal. I mean, he was fired from a scandal at Northwestern.
Yeah. I do. It was also just funny how quick it was open and shut. I'm saying the Michigan State hire. I'm saying to where they fired Jonathan Smith midday on Sunday. It was announced. And within 2 hours, it was like Pat Fitzgerald's now the head coach at Michigan State.
Yeah.
It just told you, I mean, it's just the way business, I guess, is done.
Unless you're at Penn State.
They certainly had conversations with Pat Fitzgerald before they fired Jonathan Smith.
Yeah, that might be true.
Hey, we haven't fired him yet, but if you want this job, we'll go ahead and move on from him. The whole Kalani Sitake thing with BYU and Penn State is pretty comical as well.
And it's interesting too, because you look at, at one time, and of course we went through the Trev Alberts thing, but loyalty to a school, used to be able to, okay, well, Sitake went there. He's, that's the 15, 25 year job. Not so much anymore in college football. So very interesting there. All right, we'll take one more break.
Charlie Weis made a statement.
Oh, he did?
I'm grateful to LSU for allowing me the opportunity to finish this season with Ole Miss. Coach Kiffin and the LSU administration have been nothing but supportive of this venture. I'm excited about the playoff run. Charlie Weis Jr.
There we go.
I bet you are. I bet Lane's very excited. Hey, Charlie, go win me a championship.
Yeah, I wonder if
then we can go on vacation.
Yeah, Lane might slide him a few bucks if he does well over
exactly.
there. So.
I'll give you a part of my bonus.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll finish out Old School here. Coming up next on 93.7 The Ticket.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top-quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
The top-ranked Nebraska volleyball team is trying to play its way to the Final Four in Kansas City. Make your plans now to cheer on the Huskers with a VIP travel experience from Sports Trip and the Nebraska Alumni Association. Travel round trip from Lincoln in a luxury motor coach with free parking, plus an overnight stay at the beautiful Hotel Indigo in Kansas City. See details and register at HuskerAlumniTrip.com. Hurry, spots are limited. Register now at HuskerAlumniTrip.com.
Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's schwisow.com. Your Christmas list changes a lot as you get older. Dreams of video games, remote control cars, and baseball gloves turn into dreams of shoes. You know, practical things. Brown's Shoe Fit is the king of shoes in Lincoln, with brands like Sorel, UGG, Brooks, Hoka, and more to make you fashionable and comfortable. Grab a new Ridge wallet or buy 3 get 1 free on Smart Wool socks for the ultimate stocking stuffer. And don't forget a reliable gift card for that hard-to-buy-for person in your life. Brown's Shoe Fit at 66th and Q in Lincoln.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back on Old School here on 93.7 The Ticket. Stay tuned. We got Lincoln Stars coming up on Outside the Box next here. So that will be very exciting to see how their season is coming along. I know we've got some of the guys over there waiting in the wings. We'll have some players, some special guests as well. But right now I did want to introduce everybody to the newest member to our Ticket family. Nick Wyman is in studio. Not Nick Sainert, so we got another Nick involved, so we're gonna have to kind of get used to that. When I say Nick, people are gonna think that I'm talking to Sainert. But Nick Wyman, maybe we'll just call you Wyman.
That's what everybody calls me. Call me Wyman.
Oh, there we go.
Wyman. That's the joke. Wyman.
Yeah.
Wyman. That's the joke I've heard since kindergarten. So you might as well just call me Wyman. That's what everybody's called me since day one. But yeah, it's been great. It's my second day here. Been learning a whole lot of different things. Utility player. I compared myself to Marwin Gonzalez of the Astros when he was on the Astros. Utility player. That's a deep pull right there. But no, I've been enjoying it. A lot of learning. Met a lot of really cool people, and been a pleasure to be here so far and be part of this team.
Yeah, well, I'll say first of all, pretty good radio voice, so that's a good
that
start.
helps, I guess.
Yeah,
that
deep
helps.
voice. Yeah,
that helps, right? You know.
Yeah.
I mean, Jay kind of spoiled me yesterday in old school. I was sitting here with Harrison. Jay's like, "Oh, we got another Nick in the building." It's like you already kind of spoiled my on-air debut here. Come on, Jay. If I'll let him know tomorrow. That he spoiled it, but it's whatever. It was bound to happen at some point.
So as we get to know you real quick, we got a few minutes here to try to. Where'd you grow up? I mean, what kind of brings you here? Are you a Husker fan? What's going on with you?
I'm born and raised here in Lincoln. Born and raised. I went to Pius, the 10th high school, so I'm a year older than Sainert. So
okay,
we go way back. I mean, we didn't really know each other too well. We both went to college at the same time, took a couple classes together.
Okay,
so it's kind of crazy, It's like that meme the meme. It's like, oh, look at us. Who would have thought?
Yeah,
who would have thought? The Paul, what was it? I can't remember the meme off the top of my head, but it's like
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. Like, look at us. Who would have thought? No, the last 4 years, I've been a sports writer in the area, covering high school sports, and just made a little bit of change. And here I am back in Lincoln, and it's great to be here. Grew up a Husker fan. Been through the ups and downs of the seasons, and Nebraska basketball though. Hey, they're off to a good start. Big game this weekend against Creighton. You can't ask for a better season so far from that group.
So if we rank it, because we all kind of got to get our Nebraska loyalty in it. Does it start with football? Are you more of a baseball guy, basketball, any other thing?
I mean, if you're not a Nebraska football fan, there's something wrong with you.
That's right.
You have to enjoy football. No, but Nebraska basketball, always been a fan. I've loved the Tramp Headaway years, Siobhan Shields, Walter Pitchford. Those names, Ray Gallegos, you name them. Baseball, obviously, it feels like every year they kind of have a weird season where it's like, what's going on? Then they win the Big Ten title. So it's just how it is. You're born and raised here. You're born a Husker. I mean, it could be a J-Sker. I mean,
that's right.
Not my opinion. I don't think you can be, but that's just.
If you're born in Omaha, grew up in Omaha, I think maybe
Council Bluffs area. That's just
a little bit forgivable, maybe.
Yeah. It all depends who you are. Depends
and how good Creighton's doing, how much they beat us by.
Exactly. It'll be a big game this weekend for sure.
Yeah, and Creighton's not doing as well, so Nebraska should be favored in that one. Should get the win there, but we'll see. Obviously, basketball is kind of up and down play. Anything can happen there.
And that game you can throw out the records.
Yeah,
every year feels like
too. Professional sports. Where's your allegiance lie?
The Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs fan. Big
pre-Mahomes.
Yes. I grew up watching Brody Croyle and Damon Hurd at quarterback and Larry Johnson, the running back.
Sure.
Tony Gonzalez for I think maybe a year before he left.
He was there.
I was like 7 or 8 years old or whatever. So
that's your initial, right?
Exactly. So I wasn't just watching the bad, Patrick Mahomes. I'm a fan now.
Yeah.
No,
there's a lot of Chiefs fans.
Matt Castle, when he got booed off the field, when he got hurt, I was a fan then. But yeah, I grew up on Brody Croyle, Damon Hurd, Tyler Thigpen. Those were the 3 quarterbacks. 3 quarterbacks that probably the casual fan can't name as a Chiefs fan. But yeah, Chiefs, Royals, big Royals fan. No, this is the home of the Royals during the summer. Big fan of the Royals. I mean, that's another team that's been through the ups and downs, and it's just how it is. But loyal to the Kansas City area. So
no NBA team in Kansas City. Got an NBA team?
Miami Heat.
Miami Heat.
I grew up in Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, fair enough. That Jake Sorensen's behind Miami Heat fans.
That's good.
That'll work out there for you. I'm a Celtics fan. I don't like the Heat.
Tough.
So there it is. But that's okay. We can still get along because we're Husker fans. That'll wrap it up for Old School today. Once again, welcome to Nick Wyman to the 93.7 The Ticket family. Thanks for Nick Sainert for jumping in. Outside the Box with the Lincoln Stars coming up here on The Ticket.
The top-ranked Nebraska volleyball team is trying to play its way to the Final Four in Kansas City. Make your plans now to cheer on the Huskers with a VIP travel experience from Sports Trip and the Nebraska Alumni Association. Travel round trip from Lincoln in a luxury motor coach with free parking, plus an overnight stay at the beautiful Hotel Indigo in Kansas City. See details and register at HuskerAlumniTrip.com. Hurry, spots are limited. Register now at HuskerAlumniTrip.com.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was